And a good day to you for all you agents here. Victor Bales here, and we are going to go over the Market 2024 economics class regarding real estate there. There was a lot of information, so I thought we would break this down. And today we are going to discuss home prices and kind of go through that. I want you to listen along, and I'm going to send you the PowerPoint so you can play the slideshow and kind of go through it and get comfortable with this so you can have better conversations with your clients. So I am going to share a screen and let's get rolling right here and share. So let's go through this. Again, this is the master's home class or the master class. And why are we? Where are we going? Again, I'm Victor Bill. Been doing this 23 years, been through the good, the bad, the ugly, and now it seems to be the ugly again. Let's discuss home prices. This is something you can go over with your clients here. Mr. Buyer, I understand you're a first-time home buyer. 30% of the market is 33 years old, and you would love to be potentially buy a home for your family. Actually, you were about 18 years old when your parents went through the Great Recession and the real estate market crash of 2008. Am I correct? Your parents may have lost 40% on their home value and about 35% in their 401k. So, those first-time home buyers that were living at home at that point, were kind of programmed from what their parents learned, or maybe they were misconceived on some of the information, but they're very uncertain and concerned about the market. They're giving you opinions based off the market crash they experienced or the data that was readily available, but possibly did not recognize. You're waiting for prices to drop based off respectful influences from those around you. What data have you learned that makes to believe home prices will drop? I agree with you 100%. I wish home prices would drop. And yes, you want to agree with your client because we all wish home prices would drop, and that builds some credibility that you're on their side. Would you be opposed to me presenting data that actually contradicts our wishes of prices dropping? And in fact, prices will continue to go up. So let's bring up this slide here, and we're going to talk about housing stays strong through recessions. And what we've done here is we brought up the Case-Shiller. This is the home price index since 1987. And all this data comes from the Fed website. This is the Federal Reserve economic data. So, it's all based off of facts and the reports they've been pulling for, 50 years here. So if we look at home prices back in 1987, they just continue to go up. And then we had a little drop there. But look at these recessions in gray. Even home prices did go up, but what happened right here in 2008? What we want to do is reflect on that, and that was that housing crash that everybody still talks about. And now, as we look at birth rates, and we kind of go back at some data, here is the different generations here. I'm particularly a baby boomer. Then we got Gen X, millennials, and post-millennial. And we can see the population or births going up and down. But if we look at 1960 back here, we know that in 1960 that the birth control pill was legalized, and we started to see a decline in birth rates right here. Okay. And then if in 1973, Roe versus Wade, they legalized abortion. So we've seen this big drop off of birth rates. But if we go from 1973 and we add 33 years old to make it a first-time home buyer, they would have been buying a home in 2006. So when we fast forward to 2006, and in blue, we see the household formations, birth rates going down, but yet we had an excess of building inventory. These builders were building like crazy there. So a huge drop in formations. We had the most completions in history, but yet everybody still focuses on this time of the market crash, even here today. It's going to happen again. However, we had 4 million extra units. Our demographics, we had low birth rates, and we could have actually predicted this if someone paid attention, I believe. And the lending standards back there were fog a mirror and get a loan. So the builders got all these mega bucks from banks and they love these lending standards. Oh my God, anybody can get a loan. Let's go build 1 million or extra 4 million homes. And then, of course, those lending standards started to crash. People couldn't make their payment. Prices started to drop and people owed more on the home than what it was worth. And they just walked away from the home. And that's what led to all those price drops. So let's jump forward here to 1990. And if we add 33 years to that, now in 1990, today in 2023, they are 33 years old. And please note that the population growth, household formations has went up significantly since then. And now let's fast forward here to 2023 and we can actually see that data that we had a huge increase in household formations, yet now we have a huge drop in completions. The banks aren't lending these builders spec money. That's all gone. That was back from 2008. They have really enhanced lending standards there. And so they're very careful on what they're going to build because they don't want to see this happen again. So we've got a high demand, low supply, also will equate to higher prices. And if we look at the US population, let's go back to 2008. We've got 301 million people in this country, and there was 4 million excess inventory. Let's fast forward 18 years here. Now we go to 2024, we're at 335 million people in this country, yet we only have 1.1 million listings. So let's go back here again and what happened here. We know we had to crash, but let's go ahead and remember this chart, excessive inventory. And of course, let's fast forward to 2012 here. And that's right at the bottom of the market when this thing all bottomed out. So let's zoom in there. Let's go right to the bottom of that curve. We're going to zoom in right here. There's the bottom. And now look here, up to from March of 2012 to just January of 2013, we had this increase here, and we actually appreciated 8% over that next 9 months, actually, at the bottom, even with an excess of 2.4 million inventory. So this housing market is really quite resilient. So let's just look at 81-year history. And of course, this came from Case-Shiller. So we pulled up 81 years of appreciation history across the country here. And out of those 81 years, we had 73 wins in green. We had 7 losses in red. We had 1 tie since 1941. But prices are up in 20 and 21 here, and people think, is there a crash? Because they're thinking of 2007 to 2011. But look at this. From 1943 to 1947, we had 118% of appreciation compounded. Then prices went up for 43 years until 1990. But also look at this here. 1974 to 1979, we actually had 93% appreciation. And then we went 10 years before we went to a negative 1% appreciation in 1990. And in 1991, we were actually flat. But then it went for another 14 years positive before that market crash. And of course, everybody focuses on this area right here, 2007 to 11. Inventory, we had 4 million units. Demographics were low birth rates. They should have been able to predict this. And the lending standards where you could fog a mirror and get a loan. So it was the Wild West out there. So again, when we look what affects home prices, we got our supply in gold here. We can see that the supply going up right there, 4 million excess inventory, and we hit bottom because of the demand went down because borrowers couldn't qualify at that point, and we had very low birth rates. So it is a supply and demand issue. The existing home inventory, 1.41 million here as of September, October 2023. And we got to consider, we got under contract or off the market is about 431,000. That only leaves about 669,000 available units for sale across this country. And let's look at the vacancy rates. Homes. In the homes, the vacancy rate even through the market crash, went up to about 2.75%, but now we're at about a half a percent, three-quarter of a percent. So there are no vacant homes out there. It's a very low vacancy rate. And we go to rental vacancy rate, we can look at that. That rentals was up to 10.5% back in 2008, but now we are less than, we're about 5.5%. So there's no rental properties. Again, that's supply and demand. Active home listings in the United States, again, we went over that. There's about 669,000. And if we look at that, just back in 2017, we had about 1.4 million. That was about the average that we were clipping along on. And history does paint a picture. 2024 and beyond, again, we have a very low inventory. We have a high demand. That's going to equal continued higher prices based off of these birth rates are just continuing to go up. So I personally see 7-8 years until we can really get a balanced market here. Quiz time now. What caused that market crash of 2008? That substandard lending, fog a mirror and get a loan. Why did builders build so many homes? Lending standards were so low, anyone could get a mortgage. Builders loved it. They did not pay attention to birth rates and household formations as well. Why did home prices drop in the market crash? Just supply and demand. Too many homes, and now we didn't have any qualifying buyers because the lenders raised their standards and said, oops, we made a really big mistake there. And based off of birth rates and household formations, where do you see the market going based off this data we had? And low supply and high demand for several years per the data presented. And with that, I want to thank you. Practice this thing, or go through it a couple times and play the slideshow that I sent you in your email and practice this. You got any questions, you give me a call. You want to do some role playing, but want to make you more intelligent. And even if you don't roll this out to your home buyers, just understanding the economics of how this whole financial system regarding real estate and mortgages works, it's just you're gonna yield a lot of dividends. Again, give me a call. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon. And thank you very much.